Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about a drama thriller film called The Handmaiden from 2016. A lot of interesting things are waiting for you. A young Japanese woman, Suk-hee, says goodbye to the women on her doorstep. This is not her family, but she grew up among them and has already raised more than a dozen new children. One of the girls who sees Suk-hee off is crying bitterly, but her tears are not from sadness of separation, but from the fact that she would like to be in her place. The car takes Suk-hee far away from home, and the girl manages not only to have a snack and hide all her jewelry, but also to get a good night's sleep. Even as the car pulls into the gates of the estate, the driver says that Suk-hee can continue to sleep. Her new mistress's property stretches so far that they have to travel a long way before they reach the castle itself. The girl is met by an old Japanese woman, Sasaki. By candlelight, she tells the new maid about her duties, the rules of behavior in the house, and that from now on her name is Tamako. The maid's task is to serve her young mistress and follow all the orders of the family members. But it's worth going back a bit to understand how Suk-hee, now Tamako, ended up in a remote estate. The girl grew up and stayed to work in a private orphanage, whose owner, in addition to stealing, was engaged in raising orphans for sale to wealthy Japanese families. Suk-hee had babysat for these babies herself, as well as taken jewelry theft lessons from a teacher, and knew the value of money from an early age. Therefore, when a family friend, Graf, offered her to participate in his scam and get a job with Hideko to help him marry her and take over her inheritance, Suk-hee did not hesitate for a minute and only demanded that the reward offered to her be increased. For many years, the girl's only dream was to leave a poor neighborhood in Japan and start her life from scratch. Now she finds herself in a strange mansion owned by young Hideko, which is also home to her uncle, who also wants to marry the girl to get rich. Sasaki shows Tamako to her bedroom, which is located directly across the hall from the landlady's bedroom. The girl takes off her shoes and goes to bed, but a few hours later wakes up to Hideko's screams, who has had a nightmare. After introducing herself, the new maid gives the landlady a spoonful of sake and hugs her, singing a lullaby she used to sing to the children in her old orphanage. Before she falls asleep, Hideko tells the maid that her nightmares are caused by the cherry tree under the window, where her aunt, the owner of the estate, once died. Tamako begins her service and quickly becomes close to her mistress. After some time, the maid begins to prepare Hideko for the arrival of the count, who poses as a wealthy and educated aristocrat and hopes to marry a rich girl and then send her to a home for the mentally ill. A fake maid is to help him realize his insidious plan. Hideko meets the guest and quickly falls for his tricks. The man makes every effort to make the lonely rich woman fall in love with him and convince her to run away with him, leaving her old uncle with nothing. The maid helps him well in this task. When necessary, the maid leaves the mistress alone with the count, and at night the girl shows the lady that she is waiting for her in the bedroom with a young man if she agrees to this marriage. After living in the estate for 2 weeks, the count pretends to leave, but stays nearby, waiting for Hideko and Tamako, who has run away with the mistress. When the rich woman's uncle left on business, the girls left the castle under the cover of night and took a ferry to Japan with the count. There, the man immediately married Hideko and did everything he could to drive her crazy as soon as possible. Again, he was assisted by a fake maid, Tamako. One day, the husband tricked his wife into the clinic, and she was about to be taken to the ward where she was to spend the rest of her life. Tamako hugged her mistress goodbye, preparing to say goodbye and receive her fee. But, to her surprise, everything happened quite differently. The orderlies grabbed the maid herself, mistaking her for Hideko, and the count and the lady herself confirmed with tears in their eyes that the millionaire had long ago mistaken herself for a servant. Thus, the girl who planned to deceive everyone was deceived and abandoned by everyone. To understand what happened, we need to go back to Hideko's childhood. The princess was a difficult and naughty girl, and the only person she loved and accepted was her aunt, the sister of her early deceased mother. She was the hostess of the house and the main joy of her uncle. In the evenings, he would invite selected aristocrats to the house, and the woman would read them Frank books. Hideko was taught the same way. When her aunt was found on the cherry tree, her niece took on the role of storyteller. And it was during one of these evenings that she met the count. After a frank reading, the swindler snuck into the young countess's bedroom and offered her a deal. He helps her escape from her strange uncle and his strange books, and the girl, in turn, shares her wealth with him. But in order for the uncle to never find the runaway, the couple came up with an ingenious plan. Find a new maid that no one will ever look for and send her to a special clinic under the name Hideko, and give her name and documents to the countess, who will be able to start a new life without fear of being caught. From the first day the maid appeared in the house, the lady used her for her own purposes. While the maid thought she was helping the count win over the stupid rich woman, Hideko and her husband were preparing plans to free her. All the accidents turned out to be just details of this plan. Even Hideko's fears about her inexperience, which the maid dispelled at night, turned out to be a well-thought-out episode. It was only after these nights that Tomako doubted her decision, and when she learned that her mistress was planning to end her life on the same cherry as her aunt, the maid confessed to her everything, from her appearance in the house to the Count's plan to place her in a home for the mentally ill. Hideko, in turn, also told the truth that the maid was not an accomplice in the crime, but a victim, and that she was supposed to be placed in a home for the mentally ill. Realizing that they could not cope on their own, the girls turned to the owner of the orphanage where Suki was raised for help, giving her a gold bracelet as an advance. After the maid was taken to the clinic building, Hideko and Count went to an expensive restaurant for lunch. Sitting at the table, the swindler offers the rich woman to get married again, only this time for real, and to go to Russia, where a luxurious house of a noble Russian family is for sale. At the same time, the man hints that the victim of their plan, Suki, will not live long in the hospital, and tomorrow everyone will learn of her death. At the same time, a fire breaks out in the clinic, and while the staff is running around the dining room in a panic, Suki opens her shackles with a pin and, wearing a protective suit, leaves the clinic through the burning corridor. At the hotel, Hideko pours 2 glasses of red, and into one of them she drips a few drops of a potion from the cherished bottle she received as a wedding gift from the Count. This was her condition, to have something that would help her instantly end her life if her uncle found her. But the man is too careful. He is in no hurry to drink from the glass, instead asking Hideko for 10 minutes of intimacy, hoping to win her over with his masculine qualities. But the girl continues to play. She drinks from his glass, kisses him, and gives him a drink. After a couple of minutes, the man falls down without feeling. Hideko takes all his money and runs away to the city, where Suki is waiting for her at the address she has given. The Count regains consciousness and sees the samurai on the bed. They take the swindler to his uncle's estate, who has already received a letter from his niece and is waiting for the Count to arrive to answer for the damaged books and other events. The owner of the book collection invites the loser millionaire to his basement, where he keeps another of his pride, the best wooden Japanese devices for communicating with unwanted people. The uncle is happy to show the Count how they work. The girls, disguised as a married couple, arrive at the train station, where the uncle's men are fussing over the fugitives. The uncle himself continues to talk to the prisoner in the basement. He demands intimate details of the Count's short marriage. But he agrees to tell the story only on one condition, that he be given a light from the Count's personal cigarette case. The old man does not resist, not suspecting that the cigarette case contains only poisoned cigarettes, the smoke from which will quickly take both men with it. The girls, having successfully caught the ferry, set off for a new life away from Korea, where they have faced all the trials and tribulations. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I'm happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. OLEJA Recapped was with you. See you soon.